I have no idea where we are. Hopefully this dead cat is working to dampen some of the wind noise. We came out of Woody Gap. Yeah. And, sorry, as I was saying. You ready, baby? This was great. Spot, beautiful. Anyway, so we stayed at Ramrock last night, as I had mentioned, because of this impending storm coming through and our need to get over Blood Mountain today. That put us a little over 12 today. I thought it was a little under 12, but turns out it's a little over 12 today. And we did 11 yesterday, which is our first double-digit day, and over sassafras as well. So we're sort of, you know, I could say we're getting our hiking legs, but those hiking legs are really sore this early on. Part of my problem continues to be an inability to sleep at night. Rochelle has been sleeping 8+ hours a night, but I have been up. Last night gave us our coldest night, which followed our rainiest night, which followed our windiest night. So the nighttime, when you get in that little tent, tends to be a bit isolation there. And I go a bit stir crazy. And frankly, with two of us in there, it's really small. So this is a beautiful day, beautiful hike. It's just painful. So we will come back to you at Gerard Gap, where we're gonna have lunch, if there isn't something else that I need to show you first.
Yeah, this looks worse. This gets way better pictures. We can get a picture of y'all if y'all want one.
Hey guys, I just want to do a wrap-up piece on our 4th day when we went from Ramrock? Yeah, to Neal's Gap, or to Neel Gap. Because, you know, I just had one of those typical things. As you know, I'm using my iPhone 8 to make the videos. Elle had 2 phones, a personal phone and a work phone, which also needed to be charged. Right now, I've only got a 10,400 milliamp external battery. And, you know, I think that actually is going to be fine. I get about 7 charges out of that for this one, for the 8. And so we're actually doing really well. In fact, the last night, I had charged my phone up 100%, and then Elle had charged one of her phones and was, you know, was carrying the external battery with her second phone and was charging it up. Unfortunately, as you know, fate had it, when I took my phone, after shooting a little bit of a video and stuck it back in my little fanny pack, it decided for 42 minutes to run and to take excellent video. Actually, the quality was superb. I mean, really, of the inside of my bag. Nice. Yep. And so, of course, what happened was it drained my battery down, and I had very, very limited. I was like 7%. So I took some pictures up on Blood Mountain, but I wasn't able to shoot any video. So I just thought, you know, the commentary obviously was not there. So I just thought we'd make a, you know, quick little ending piece to this video and say about our you know, experiences. I mean, in summary, what happened was we were supposed to do between, I think it was 7.8 and 8.4 miles per day. That was sort of the plan, you know, easy but steady. Frankly, even 7 to 8 miles, we were smoked.
Exhausted, absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, a number of the shelters, as you approach them, from Springer to Hawk, you're going up quite a ways, and you know, we're obviously new, so as a consequence, woo, we were smoked. So when all of a sudden, everybody started talking about this storm coming in. You know, days and days of a wicked storm. They were talking about sub-freezing temperatures, gale force winds. And we, as well as others, decided we've got to scoot to get to Neel Gap. So as a consequence, we ended up doing 3 nights instead of 4 nights. So
we extended our hikes to go from that 8 mile to 11 and 12 miles,
exactly.
Which that extra 4 miles may not seem like a lot when you're walking without, you know, 25 extra pounds on your back, and but when you're going at elevation with that weight, that was a lot.
Yeah, on paper, we were actually talking, hey, we'll just shoot all the way to Hiawassee, you know, I mean, what, 51 miles or something like that? You know, easy peasy, we'll do that. You know, I'll tell you what, all the folks who have come before us that said no matter how you prepare for the Appalachian Trail, it's not the Appalachian Trail, right? I was doing, what, 11 to 13 miles 3 times a friggin' week in the Belgrade Forest. And when we got here...
It's crazy.
Your feet are never on solid ground. You're, you know, touching a rock or a root, a washout, something. You're constantly, and it just tears your calves up and your feet up. Yep. You were having issues with the top of you. You've got fantastic, vast trail runners, and we're having problems with the top of your feet. I started having what I thought was maybe a little plantar fasciitis on the bottom of my left foot. It sort of worked itself out with some you know, just stretching. But it's just because your feet, right, they're never on solid ground. And then, of course, it's slick, you know, because we did have quite a bit of rain.
Lots of rain, lots of mud, uneven ground. So
anyway, just as sort of a wrap up, I'll get my impression. I mean, the first day I think we did was 11 and then 12, right? So the first day from Hawk to Ramrock was a long day, and it was fine until for me, it was fine. I mean, I was definitely smoked until we got to the bottom of Ramrock and had to hike up Ramrock where we had stealth camped. Oh my God. We couldn't have gone any further. I'm not kidding you. We could not have taken another step.
No.
Fortunately, we did have, what, 4
other stealth campers with us.
Yeah, so that was nice to have the little group together. But of course, you're up on the top of that, you know, bald. Well, it's not a bald, but you know, it's sort of a bald. Up on top of that rock, and it is windy. Woo, windy, and there's about really 3 good campsites up there. We were in the 4th because we were the last ones up, and we had to adjust our tent because of the deadfall up above us, and adjust, you know, to basically not get, you know, knocked out by a widowmaker or something. Right? I mean, that was, and then hanging the bear bag for the first time at night using your little headlamp, you know, every time I hung it was during the day. It's a little bit easier, but trying to get the, you know, the distance and everything down, I must have thrown that damn thing
25 times. Broke a couple branches.
Yeah, it was sort of a joke. But anyway, that's the fun of it. At least that night, we didn't get any rain because we had, everything was soaked.
Yeah, rain for 2 nights prior.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So anyway, that was a long day. Then we started with this. Of course, we've got to do 12 miles to get to Neel Gap. We had been dreading. We dread sassafras,
which was part of Ramrock. That's why we were so exhausted, because we had already
That
done
day,
sassafras
right.
that day. We were mentally prepared to stop at Gooch Gap,
right?
but because of the storm, we pushed on for another 3 miles, not realizing that the last half mile was straight up in order to find a campsite. So we were absolutely exhausted, but we still wanted to make sure we had enough distance that we could make the full 12 miles to get to a cabin to avoid this horrible storm we've been having for a couple days.
Yep.
So we got up early the next day after a windy night, but no rain, and had to do Blood Mountain, and I was not ready for Blood Mountain.
I think we were ready to go up Blood Mountain.
Right. That's
right?
true. Yeah.
Yeah, Elle was actually leading that, and she was just on a mission. Going up hills, she'll get in this focus and just like plow through. And she was smoking that mountain. And we passed our two other, actually all four of our companions.
Right.
Two of them on Blood Mountain, just boom, boom, boom up. But I'll tell you what. So we get up there. We take some pictures. There's a good group of folks up there. It's such a a beautiful scene, and it's such a cool old shelter, right?
Yeah.
Really sort of historic and nice, and we got some great pictures and everything. We're hiking with RTK, who is Return to Katahdin, who's also doing a YouTube channel. You should check it out. He's a super good dude. I mean, seriously, he's the guy who's actually doing a charity hike also, but for the ATC. And they're trying to get, I want to say $250,000 or something like that. Is it possible? Anyway, they're putting all the effort in, but this guy's a really good dude, right? I mean, we had such a great time with him. Anyway, we get up there with RTK and have a great, setting, and then we're like, okay, let's go back down.
Right.
Go
2
back
miles,
down.
2.2 miles to the cabin should be easy.
That downhill.
Horrible.
Holy
Slate.
mother of God.
Yeah.
It is sheer rock coming off of that. And, you're already smoked. And your feet now are slamming forward to the front of your shoes. It's slick. We're lucky that it was actually a beautiful day up there. You'll see from the pictures that we've added here. But it was a leg burner.
Yeah. It was tough.
And it felt like 10 miles. I mean,
it took a lot longer than it normally does to go 2 miles. And it was, even at one point, very difficult to figure out exactly where you have to step with all that extra weight as you're looking down.
Yeah.
And your poles, putting them properly so you don't fall down on some of these narrow trails. It was difficult.
I'll tell you who I give a big shout out to is Josh and Laura.
And their dog Goose.
Yeah, with their dog Goose. I don't know if they showed up in other pictures or not, to tell you the truth, but he's a ranger. She's still in college. They've got this great, fantastic dog. They hiked the whole way with Goose. Just fantastic. But going up and down that hill must have been unbelievable, with a dog
and no poles.
Yeah, no poles. Anyway, so big shout out to them. They really, I think they were inspiration. They actually, gave us inspiration to continue to punch on.
Yep.
Anyway, got down here to Neel's Gap. I don't know what Elle's view is. Neel Gap, the store and outfitter, frankly, I'm not a big fan. I felt like this elitist sort of attitude, judgmental attitude. I think it's because, when you walk up to the place, you look up and you see friggin'
Tons of shoes.
Exactly, tons of shoes.
People have resigned.
Right.
They're done.
So maybe, frankly, it's well-deserved. When we walk in there, they're like, okay, a couple other monkeys, you know what I mean, who are not going to make it through. But I sort of felt that, and I was a bit disappointed, to tell you the truth. But it seemed like the people that were actually doing the pack scrubs and everything were actually really cool and helpful folks. But the other staff, I don't know. Anyway, my personal feeling. We came down here to the Blood Mountain cabins.
Nice cabin.
Yeah.
Nice opportunity to shower. First shower in almost 5 days.
How good
4
that
days,
feels.
yeah.
Yeah, how good that feels. Anyway, so the cabins were pretty good. They were sort of harried the day that we got here. We got here just before 5 o'clock when they closed. So it was sort of, you know, a little chaotic at the time. They weren't supposed to be open on Wednesdays. I guess during the winter they do that. But this year, there are so many hikers. So they actually opened up on Wednesday.
Got some laundry done.
Right.
Oh, I smell clean.
Yeah, so that was spectacular. A bunch of more hikers came in on Wednesday, having hiked through the first day of this storm. And I'm telling you, this has been a miserable storm. It's cold, windy, damp sort of mess. We were blessed, right?
Yes.
The first night, we went down to Copeland's down in Blairsville. It's like 11 miles away, so it's kind of a hike. But man, Copeland's, if you're looking for burgers and booze, huh?
That's the place to go. It was a good meal.
Off the hook. Are you kidding me? We had tater
tots with chili and cheese.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh.
Everybody was friggin' loving that. So,
we had a good group go there.
yeah, really good. That was great. And the Mexican restaurant is like,
day.
are you kidding me? These people, you know, they can do some Mexican food.
Oh yeah, they can.
It's really, really authentic. So if you come into town, Rite Aid great, Copeland's great.
The wine shop.
The wine shop, there's a wine shop, but if you're in Google, it's going to say wine and spirits. It's not wine and spirits. It's
Dry
just
county.
wine. Yeah, that's right.
Dry
Know
county.
that. It is
You
a
can buy it in a
semi-dry
restaurant.
county. Yeah. They only serve per glass, which, hey, I'm just, you know, the outsider looking in, but why in God's name would you say you can buy spirits by the glass at a restaurant or some other public place that you have to somehow get to, theoretically drive to, but you can't take it home to the privacy of your own home? It seems to me to be encouraging people to drink and drive.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, but with the number of cops in Blairsville, you don't want to be drinking and driving, I tell you that. Right?
True.
I mean, we must have seen 11 in, you know, the short time we were there. Anyway, those places are really great. If you go into Blairsville, it's actually worth the time. If you do that. There's also a small outfitter there, so if you don't want to pay the prices at Neel Gap and Mountain Crossings, you can do that, because it's at least a 20% markup at Mountain Crossings. It is convenient. I mean, it is what it is. So anyway,
that's it. I think the other opportunity that this gave, especially you that's going to be moving on, is to reevaluate what you have packed.
yeah.
So we were able to take everything out of our packs, reevaluate what you truly need and don't need after being on the trail for 4 days,
Right.
a couple nights. Then you were able to see the kind of food, how you're packing it. You bought a new water system, which
Yeah.
I think you want to talk about your old water system. But the one thing that I think is really important that I'm taking away from this, because this is where I'm going to end at this portion of the hike, the solitude, the ability to think about things, to reevaluate things that are happening in your life. When I hit the summit of Blood Mountain, it was a very emotional experience. It was, I think a lot of it was because I was drained, the uphill, the sleeping outside in the cold and wet. And the one thing that I'm really going to miss is the fact that I can't go on and continue the hike, because this is actually a really good opportunity just to reevaluate and take a look at things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a huge transition. I had mentioned in a couple of the videos, I've been having a real problem, a real challenge with the camping piece. You know, I camped a lot as a kid and that sort of thing, but it was mostly in like wall tents, and it was mostly, you know, in sort of structured events. As I've said before, work-wise, my background is more, you know, E&E sort of things and escape and evasion sort of things, and it's like you're not doing the camping piece of that so much. So as a consequence, the camping piece has been a challenge for me. For some reason, as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit claustrophobic. I never had that as a kid, but you know, I found myself in that orange tent, and the high volume UL2 is friggin' awesome, right? The Copper Spur is a big space, but obviously for two people it's a little bit less, but it's a good size tent. You can sit up around the entire perimeter of the thing. You know, it's not like, you know, an A-frame like you have with some of the other ultralight tents where you can basically only sit up in the ridge. You can sit up around the whole thing, so there's space there, but mentally, man, I was suffering. I'm not kidding you, and I have no idea what I'm about to go back into, because at least with Rochelle there, I had my, you know, a companion. I had somebody, you know, to sort of work through it. But yeah, that's going to be a big a big change, as I head out from here. And of course, it's hard for you leaving, so that's, the emotional piece that a lot of you are experiencing at Amicalola Falls or wherever this, the splitting up. Anyway, I will just touch really quickly on the hydration system. So I can't tell you, frankly, how disappointed I am in the hydration system and the information that's out in the community about the hydration systems. I used a bladder the whole time I was doing the prep hike because I couldn't get the smart water bottles. And so it's easy. You just take the tube, boom, all good. Of course, I had fresh water, so I wasn't having to filter it. I did have, the Sawyer squeeze, but I wasn't really using it that much. Of course, I had practiced with it, but that's a different story. So we get out there, and immediately I start having issues. So here is the Sawyer squeeze, right? Couple issues with it. One is there is a O-ring inside of here. And that O-ring is a material that's almost like wax. It has a little bit more durability to that, but it is so soft that as soon as you take your smart water bottle and you screw this on there, I had heard about don't tighten it too much. So I had been cautious about not cranking down on this thing, but having enough so that it wouldn't leak. And you can see right there exactly what happens. There's your O-ring. It gets slammed into the bottle because it doesn't, maybe with their bag, it's a little wider lip, so you don't have that issue. But when you're using it with what everybody uses it with, it cranks down into the opening of the bottle, and then it starts leaking. And every time you unscrew it, it wants to drop onto the ground. And I had to pick it up a number of times. Other people lost theirs. Apparently, you can go to an automotive store and get one of the little red washers that'll work really well. The other piece, as you see everybody replace, the white cap here, a couple issues with it. One, it doesn't have a cap over the top of it. So every time you go to take a drink, there's mud on top of that's gotten onto that little cap. The mud from the same source as your water or whatever, which is theoretically contaminated. So I was constantly taking the hand sanitizer and cleaning it off. And that's why people use the 750 milliliter cap on here. And I guess my only point is, to Sawyer is, do you realize, Sawyer, that people are actually staking their lives on this shit? You're producing garbage, and giving it to people who are going out and actually staking their lives on it. This is cheap crap. You know exactly what people are doing with using the smart water bottles, and yet no fix. This cap, are you kidding me? You wouldn't use something like the smart water cap and redesign it? This is the great company that's, hey, we're all about the hiker, we're all about the society, the community, everybody out there, rah, rah. And how about the people that they're sending all this free crap to and then telling us about what a wonderful product it is? Let me tell you something. For those of you considering it, you seriously need to consider this. A, replace this immediately. Go to your local, automotive store and get that little red O-ring, and then replace this immediately and keep a couple extras of the smart water caps. I do have them, but this fell off at the last day, and I just didn't put it on there. So I think there are some positive things about this, as far as the flow rate was good. Obviously, it's filtering the water. You can use it like this, and I did have to use it like this. But we're 4 days into this. There's 2190. We're 31, well, technically 40 something because of the approach trail. Unbelievable product failure with this. So not a happy camper with Sawyer doing this kind of crap to people who are staking their lives on this. Seriously, again, my soapbox, but I want you guys that are watching this, to know this and have this consideration before you go out there. O-ring and go to the cap really quickly, so you can also backwash this. So that was a disappointment. Anyway, what I did was, now I'm not going to use these smart water bottles anymore. I'm basically going to use a gravity-fed system. I went and got another bag. I'm going to take Elle's, which was a dirty water bag. How hers was set up was she just took dirty water, you saw it in the one video, dirty water into the bag, and then I put an inline mini, which isn't as effective as this. I mean, it's effective, but it gets clogged up faster than the squeeze. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that bag as the fill bag, and then I'm going to use gravity fed over to the others. I think RTK and some of the other folks were using the gravity fed system, and I know Dixie does as well. And that seems to be, it's a little slower, but it seems to be the most effective. I'll let you know, as we go down the trail, but I had to move from this. Yeah, we talked about it in another video, as far as the issues with the water bottles and how they sit on your pack and sort of project up like this and kind of dig into your sides and stuff. Anyway, I know that there's a lot of support for the smart water bottles. For me, it didn't work, and it primarily didn't work because of the Sawyer squeeze. So anyway, that's where it is. I think this is a good wrap up for this one video, getting to Neel Gap. It's obviously a huge section for us of completion, and then we'll just carry on from here and shoot the next video. I think I'm heading to Baggs Creek, which is only like just a Nero out today, and then we'll go from there. Weather. Yeah, it's right. The storm is continuing, but I just can't sit here, and Al's leaving, and so we got to get back on the trail. All right, guys, thanks for all the support. Seriously, love you to death, and we'll say cheers to Al as she goes on, and then she's going to pick up back with me probably around Harper's Ferry or in Virginia, and then hopefully at the end. So see you guys.